Okay, how to plan your working week by popular demand. I'm seeing a lot of cake makers that I follow have been posting lately. They're having midnight finishes. They're having 3 a.m. finishes. It doesn't have to be that way. I remember when I first started. I mean, this is going back 2007, 2008. Um, it was often that way, and it's so hard. And over the years, I learned how to just to prioritize and how to batch produce stock. I'm going to go right into how I do it now, and I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that I've learned over the years. One way is when I had a shop unit in Doncaster Market, and I used to bake on the premises. I'll call that the bakes business way. If you're mainly doing brownies and cookies, dessert, treat boxes, that way will probably suit you. If you do, I'll show you a different way for if you do mainly big cakes. Because obviously I've also had a business where I've done a high volume of big cakes. A lot of us sit somewhere in the middle, but I just want to give you a good idea of how to do it. If you can save time, you reduce your hours, that means you can either fit more orders in or you can get more rest time, both of which are excellent things. Right. So, I mean, sleep deprivation it's a terrible thing. Even now, I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So maybe I'm using this to get back into my own head and get myself focused again and back to my old routines. Lockdown caused some right problems, didn't it? Because we had all those midweek orders. People stopped just having cakes on Fridays and Saturdays. And I think it's time to get back. Now they're having their occasions at weekends again because they can book venues again. I think it's a lot easier to get back into a good routine with our baking. So, right, it's easiest if we start by looking at the shelf life of all the separate components of what you have to produce in a week, and then give yourself a day for each component. I'm going to explain more by what I mean by that, and produce these components factory style, because if you're focusing on one task and just repeating that, it works a lot better. There's a reason factories work the way that they do, like we can apply that on a much smaller scale, obviously, but we can do that. So it's also a much more peaceful way. It's a more relaxed way of working because you just get in the zone. I don't do fondant cakes now, but when I did, I used to get right into the zone, making sugar roses and stuff. I could spend 8 hours just making sugar roses because you just get that focus on, and it's quite nice, isn't it? So if we can apply that to each component that we build that goes towards us production for the week, it just makes it a lot easier. So the first way I'm going to describe to you is the bakes business. As I say, this is how I used to do things. I'll just describe my typical working week for when I was on the market. So Sunday, obviously, I'd be off. Mondays, the stall was closed, so I'd go in and I'd get something like either fruitcakes or my big meringues in the oven, something that took 4 or 5 hours to bake. While they were in the oven baking, I'd be nipping out to shops, getting my ingredients in, and I'd give my flour a right good scrub. By the time I'd done all that, chilled out a bit, done a bit of paperwork, oven were ready to be switched off, and my day were done. Tuesdays, the market was open. I wouldn't have a lot of stock on there on a Tuesday because it was so quiet, so that didn't matter. But mainly I'd get my cookies done because they had a good shelf life. My cookies kept for a good week. And the target was always to sell all of this stock by the Saturday. So every Tuesday, 120 cookies baked. I had 3 ovens. So Tuesday was cookie day. Wednesday I'd be off, make sure I got myself rested. Thursday the market was closed, and that was a big production day. So I'd keep my shutter down, I'd get my music on, and I'd do all my baking. I'd bake all my tray bakes. I used to do lots of Yorkshire parking over at winter especially. I'd do a couple of like Madeira cake tray bakes. I'd do maybe a honey drizzled one with pine nuts or a lemon drizzle or something like that. Chocolate brownies. So while they were in the oven, I'd be making my cheesecake bases, just the bases. I didn't take on orders then. I'd produce 2 cheesecakes and 2 layer cakes each week. If they were all ordered, none went on the stall. If they weren't ordered, they'd go out on the stall. The customers would get a little bonus. They'd have cheesecake or layer cake to choose from. I'd bake my layer cake sponges on the Thursday as well. And all the time while the oven's on, obviously there's a lot of cleaning up to do because I'm producing a lot of stock as well. Keeping it clean, and I'd produce all my Rocky Roads. I used to do loads of different Rocky Roads chocolate slices, like Malteser slices, and my sweet and salty crunchy nut squares. They were really popular. So that'd all be done on a Thursday. So then Friday mornings, market was open, I'd get in, I'd slice everything up, get it on display, then I'd fill my cheesecakes, get them in the fridge to set, and I'd finish off my layer cakes. So that by lunchtime, the stall was full and my cheesecakes and layer cakes were done. So then Saturday, obviously it's the main selling day. So I'd get in early, get my fruit cakes in the oven because they'd take 5-6 hours to bake. And then all day Saturday I was just selling and cleaning down, doing all my shelves and everything as I went. But the main thing Saturday was doing all the selling. So that's how I did it for my bakes business. I think that'd be quite easy to apply to like a desserts, a treats box business, because you're just focusing on that shelf life. So even if you don't produce those exact products that I was producing, you know what keeps better. You know what you can drop in freezer for a couple of days and then pull out on the Saturday morning to box up. So apply it that way. Just think about how you can do that in your business. The next way I'm going to describe to you is when I was doing a high volume of big cake orders, when it were mainly fondant cakes, and my big chocolate messes and things. So when it's quite a different business that, as I say, a lot of us settle somewhere in the middle, but just try and look at what you produce and apply it to, this type of method to your working. So Sunday I'd be off. Monday I'd produce sugar decorations, anything I can make that just then gets set on the cake. I'd ice the boards, not that I ice board, I like them white cake boards nowadays. I don't like to ice boards, but I would ice the boards and then they'll sit absolutely fine in the cake box that it's going to be in for the rest of the week. Build up the boxes. While you're doing the sugar decorations, you're in the zone, do a few extra. If you're making sugar roses, just do a few extra each time. If you're cutting out butterflies, do another 20, another couple of dozen. Then you've got them in a box so you can quick use them, because these things keep for ages, don't they? As long as you store them properly and you keep them out of dust and moisture, they'll keep absolutely fine. So get them done at the start of the week. Tuesday, I would mix up all ganaches and buttercreams. If you've got a lot of detailed fondant work to do, you can always do any excess on the Tuesday, because obviously your ganaches and buttercreams don't take a lot of time to do. Maybe just take a half day off. Right. Wednesday is bake day. Bake all those layers. Once they're cooled, get them wrapped up, chill them overnight so they're easy to handle on Thursday. Thursday, you want to be leveling, filling, ganaching. I would do all the leveling and the filling with buttercream in the morning, leave them in the fridge to chill down, and then ganache them after dinner time. So by Friday morning, all your big cakes are ganached ready. Spend the morning covering them in fondant, spend the afternoon decorating them all and finishing them off. Do them in priority order. So if you've got some getting picked up Friday afternoon, that's the first one you do. Saturday morning, to me, you shouldn't be doing anything. You've worked all week. It's collection day. So any finishing touches you need, a little spritz of glitter, go back over them and do that sort of thing. But then it's collection day. Obviously, in an ideal world, which I've just described, all your collections are either late on a Friday or on a Saturday morning. It doesn't always work that way. Like I say, lockdown absolutely through us. So if you have got some curveball weekday orders, think about how you can do it. To me, I mean, if someone wants a cake on a Sunday, I just say to them, Sunday's my day off. If you want a cake, you need to collect it on the Saturday. You're allowed a day off. Just tell them it's your day off. So get them picked up on Saturdays. If you've got one going out on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm not saying have it finished off by the end of the Friday with your others, but as long as you're all right doing that, you can say no. Remember, you can say no. I keep telling you, it's your business, it's your rules. but you can still produce those decorations for that the Monday before. You can that the buttercream and ganache to go on that cake, you can make them on the Tuesday with the rest of them, and then just freeze a little bit. So you've got it there, so you haven't got to mess about. Or, I mean, if it's going out on a Tuesday, you've got it there ready, but try and just organise. If you've got your components done, if you've baked, you can bake that cake on the bake days Wednesday before, and just freeze it for a few days. It's not going to come to any harm as long as you've wrapped it up properly. I like to wrap mine in freezer bags, proper thick plastic, and then inside a cardboard box. They keep absolutely fine. So if you've got all your components ready, if you've got your board iced, you've got your box built even, the most it might take you is an hour to just knock that order out if you get, if it needs to go on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I'd just say no, maybe that's why I don't get so many orders nowadays. But yeah, hopefully, if that's giving you a bit of an explanation, that's how to organise your working week. Apply it to your business, and just see what you come up with, and hopefully will save you a lot of time. I'm going to do a separate video on... Sorry, I thought my timer would run out then. It's nearly running out. I'm going to do a separate video on timing your daytime. Right. Apologies for that swearing. I thought I'd run out of time. I just about am.